Hello students, we had begun with chapter 6, if you remember, that is definite integrals, and we have already completed exercise 6.1. Now before going on to 6.2, we are going to study certain properties of definite integrals. The first one among them, that is the integral from a to a fx dx gives us 0. Now this property, you can just think of it, you will know that this property is true without me showing it to be true. Look at the second property now. In the second property, the integral a to b fx dx is equal to minus integral b to a fx dx. So you do realize what has been done over here, isn't it? The limits have been changed. A was the lower limit on the LHS, b was the upper limit. Now b has become the lower limit and a has become the upper limit, and therefore naturally there is a minus sign over here. So the integral changes in sign. The third property, integral from a to b fx dx can also be written as integral from a to b ft dt, where we have done an appropriate substitution. You might have these sums also. Okay. Now the fourth property. In the fourth property, the integral from a to b fx dx is equal to integral from a to c fx dx plus integral from c to b fx dx, where c lies between a and b. So we write it as a less than c less than b. Now these were the first four properties. Now there are certain properties which are even more important than these. Okay, we come to the fifth property. That is why I've written them in a different color over here. Okay, the fifth property. According to the fifth property, the integral from a to b fx dx is equal to the integral from a to b f of a plus b minus x dx. So we will be applying this when we do sums. So you are going to keep this in mind as property 5. Similarly, property 6 is also very important. The property is the integral of 0 to a fx dx is equal to the integral of 0 to a f of a minus x dx. The seventh property, the integral 0 to 2a fx dx is equal to the integral 0 to a fx dx plus the integral of 0 to a f of 2a minus x dx. Now before going further with property 8, we also learned that there are two types of functions, that is even function and odd functions. Now what is an even function? Suppose fx is a function, and if you take f of minus x, and that comes out to be fx. Okay, if this is the case, this implies that fx is even. Okay, for example, suppose fx is x square. Therefore, what is f of minus x? F of minus x is obtained by putting minus x in place of x. So we get minus x the whole square, which is nothing but x square, and that is equal to fx. So in this case, f of minus x is equal to fx, and therefore the function is an even function. On the other hand, if f of minus x turns out to be minus of fx, then this implies that fx is an odd function. Okay, it's not even value but even function and odd function. Okay, so in this case, if f of minus x is equal to minus fx, let us see an example here. Suppose fx is equal to x cube, and therefore f of minus x becomes minus x the whole cube, which is minus x cube, which is actually minus fx because our fx was x cube. Okay, so in this case, f of minus x is equal to minus fx, and therefore we say that the fx is an odd function that is it. Okay, so in this way, now we come to property 8. Okay, according to property 8, if we have the integral from minus a to a fx dx, then this can be written as 2 times from 0 to a fx dx. If fx is even function, okay, if fx is an even function. Okay, and the same function, okay, suppose we have the same type of function in this function, suppose we have minus a to a fx dx, then we can write 0, the value of this function becomes 0 if we find that fx is an odd function. Again, this property we may be dealing with certain sums. We may be applying this property in certain sums which are there. Now that we have seen certain properties of definite integrals, let us come to exercise 6.2. The first sum here, the integral of minus 9 to 9 x cube upon 4 minus x square dx. Now here, let us write fx as the given function, that is x cube upon 4 minus x square. Therefore, we get f of minus x, where we put x as minus x everywhere. So, we get minus x the whole cube upon 4 minus x the whole square, which becomes minus x cube upon 4 minus x square, which is actually the same as minus fx. And therefore, here we conclude that f of minus x is equal to minus fx. And therefore, fx is an odd function. We had studied that these functions, such functions are called odd functions. So, fx is an odd function. And therefore, the integral given question, that is integral from 9 to 9 x cube upon 4 minus x square dx, which is integral of fx dx. Okay, this becomes equal to 0. Okay, by property 8, that is there. You don't have to state the property, but here I am just stating it for your benefit. Okay, property 8 is what? Property 8 is minus integral of minus a to a fx dx is equal to 0 if fx is odd function. So, according to this property, we get the answer as 0. Now, let us move on to the next sum. In this case, the second question. Now, the second question is the integral from 0 to a x square into a minus x the whole raised to 3 by 2 dx. Now, how to solve this sum? We see that the limit of integration is 0 to a. That means maybe we can apply this particular property, that is property 6, that is here. Okay, so what is property 6? Property 6, we have studied that if the integral is of this type 0 to a fx dx, then this integral can be written as the integral 0 to a f of a minus x dx. So let us put a minus x wherever there is f in the case of our question, that is it. So in the question, our integral, that is 0 to a x square, the integral of x square into a minus x raised to 3 by 2 dx. Now this question can be written as this way, that is the integral of 0 to a. Now x square can be written as a minus x the whole square. Okay, I told you wherever x is there, we are going to put a minus x. So x square is written as a minus x the whole square into a minus x can be written as a minus x. Okay, the whole raised to 3 by 2 dx. So this comes out as this way, that is 0 to a minus x the whole square. We expand the bracket, so we get a square minus 2ax plus x square. And the second term, what about the second term? Now in the second term, as you will be seeing, these two a's go away. The a terms go away and minus of minus x is x. So plus x raised to 3 by 2 dx. Okay, now it becomes simpler to do because when we open the bracket, we get 0 to a, the integral of 0 to a, we multiply each term with x raised to 3 by 2. So therefore, we are going to get a square into x raised to 3 by 2 minus 2a x into x raised to 3 by 2 and plus x square into x raised to 3 by 2 dx. Okay, then in the next step, we are going to get 0 to a. Now a square x raised to 3 by 2 remains as it is for now. Okay, minus now 2ax into x raised to 3 by 2. You know that when two same terms are multiplied together, their powers are added. So it is as good as this way, that is x raised to 1 plus 3 by 2. Okay, now 1 plus 3 by 2 by cross multiplying we get 5 by 2. So this term, this I just showed it for your reference. So we are going to get, in this case, we are going to get 2a x raised to 5 by 2. Okay, similarly, plus in this case, in the third term also, x square into x raised to 3 by 2. We get it as this way, that is x raised to 2 plus 3 by 2. And therefore, cross multiplying, we are going to get x raised to 7 by 2. Okay, dx. Then, in the next step, we are going to get 0 to a. Now, we are going to solve it. We are not going to write integral 0 to a, but we are going to solve it. In each case, we use the formula x raised to n, the very first formula for integration that we learned. So, thus, we get the answer as this way, that is a square into x raised to 3 by 2 plus 1, x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1, if you remember. So, 3 by 2 plus 1 minus 2a x raised to 5 by 2 plus 1 upon 5 by 2 plus 1 plus x raised to 7 upon 2 plus 1 upon 7 upon 2 plus 1. The whole thing, we don't write plus c. If you remember, we will be writing from 0 to a. Okay. Then, going further, our terms now are going to become this way. That is a square into x raised to 3 by 2 plus 1 by cross multiplying etc. We are going to get x raised to 5 by 2. Okay, so x raised to 5 by 2 upon 5 by 2 minus 2 a raised to, again the same thing, we cross multiply. So we get 7 by 2 upon 7 by 2 plus x raised to, in this case it is 9 by 2 upon 9 by 2. Okay, from 0 to a. Now we put the value, the upper limit of the integral first. The upper limit is of course a. So we are going to get a square into a raised to 5 by 2. And what about this 5 by 2? In the denominator, we write it as 2 upon 5. Okay. Then minus, again, the 7 upon 2 in the denominator comes up. So we get 4 upon 7. By multiplying by 2, we get 4 upon 7. A raised to, in this case it was a into x raised to 5 by 2 plus 1. So it is a into x raised to 7 by 2. So we get a into a raised to 7 by 2 by substituting the value of x as a. Okay, a raised to 7 by 2 plus, again instead of x we put a raised to 9 by 2, and this 9 by 2 in the denominator comes out as 2 upon 9 minus 0 in each case. Okay, minus 0 and again minus 0. There are three terms. No need to write them down. Just to show you, I am just writing it down over here. Okay. So now I have written these terms once again over here on this page. Okay. So now we are going to get 2 upon 5. Now a square into a raised to 5 by 2 as usual. A raised to 2 plus 5 by 2. we are going to get a raised to 9 by 2. Okay, so a raised to 9 by 2 minus 4 upon 7 into a raised to 1 into a raised to 7 by 2. By cross multiplying, we are going to get a raised to 9 by 2. And the third term as it is, 2 upon 9, a raised to 9 by 2. Okay, then we are going to take a raised to 9 by 2 common, which is there in all the terms. So we'll be getting 2 upon 5 minus 4 upon 7 plus 2 upon 9, which turns out this way, that is a raised to 9 by 2 into, now cross multiplying and equalizing the denominator, we are going to get this in each case, that is 2 into, we multiply by the other two denominators which are there, that is 2 into 7 into 9 minus 4 into these two denominators 5 and 9, 4 into 5 into 9 plus 2 into 5 into 7. The whole upon all the three denominators multiplied together. Okay, thus we are going to get a raised to 9 by 2 into, now the first term becomes 126 upon multiplication 126 minus the second term becomes 180 because 4 5s are 20, 9s are 180 plus the third term becomes 70, 2 5s are 10, 7s are 70. The whole thing upon 315. When you multiply the denominators, we get 315. Upon solving it, we get 16 upon 315 into a raised to 9 upon 2. So this becomes our final answer that is here for this particular sum. So study it properly and try to understand the sum. Okay, so we move on to the next sum now. Next question, that is the third question. In the third question, the question is the integral 1 to 3 cube root of x plus 5 upon the cube root of x plus 5 plus the cube root of 9 minus x dx. Okay, now study this sum properly and consider it as a very important sum from your exam point of view. Okay, so this sum is a very important sum that is it. So studying this sum now, we use property phi actually. Okay, we are going to use property phi over here. What is the property phi? Now property phi is this, that is the integral a to b fx dx. If the integral is of this type, then we can write this as the integral a to b f of a plus b minus x dx. Okay, so this is the property phi. Now this particular property we are going to use over here, and therefore we are going to write this way, that is our integral. Let I be this particular integral, that is 1 to 3, the question given to us. Okay, let this be the question. And we are going to number this as the first equation C. Suppose this is the first equation. Now, what we do over here is that we use property phi. That is, suppose 1 means A, this 1 means A, and this 3 means B. So we can write this integral as the integral from 1 to 3 cube root of A plus B minus x. So wherever x is there, we put 1 plus 3 minus x. Okay, plus 5 upon, again same thing in the denominator also, wherever x is there we put it as 1 plus 3 minus x. Okay, and plus 5 is there anyway in the term, plus again same thing, the cube root of 9 minus 1 plus 3 minus x. Okay, dx. So study the step carefully. We have used property phi over here. Okay, and therefore we get the integral from 1 to 3. This becomes a cube root of, now 1 plus 3 means 4 and 4 plus 5 gives us 9. So 9 minus x. The first term, the numerator becomes that. In the denominator, the first term is again the same thing, that is the cube root of 1 plus 3, 4 plus 5, that is 9 minus x. Okay, and plus the cube root of, now 9 minus 4 gives us 5. So 5 minus and minus x becomes plus x. So this becomes our integral now. So this is again 2. So since on the LHS we had I, all these terms are I itself. So equation 1 on the LHS there is I, equation 2 also on the LHS there is I. Now observe the next step carefully. What we do is, in the next step we add 1 and 2. So adding 1 and 2. Okay, now 1 was our original question actually. So integral 1 to 3, the cube root of x plus 5 upon the whole thing, that is the cube root of x plus 5, whatever question they have given to us. Okay, plus 2, equation 2 is what we got above just now, that is the cube root of, the integral of the cube root of 9 minus x upon the cube root of 9 minus x plus again the cube root of 5 plus x dx. Now when you observe the denominators, both the denominators are same. Isn't it? Both these denominators are same. So what we do is that we bring the whole thing under one integral. The limit of integration is also same. In both the cases it is 1 to 3. So we bring both the terms under the same integral. And what is more, we write, in this case we are going to write the common denominator that is there. Okay, the common denominator is cube root of x plus 5 plus cube root of 9 minus x in both the cases actually. And so the numerators are added this way. So cube root of x plus 5 plus the cube root of 9 minus x upon the cube root of x plus 5 plus again the cube root of 9 minus x dx. Okay, now in the meanwhile, what had happened to the LHS? LHS was I plus I. So it is actually 2i. If you can see over here, it is 2i. In this case also it is 2i. Okay, so 2i is equal to this whole thing. Now as you can see, the numerator and the denominator contain the same terms. So we cancel them out. And so this becomes the integral 1 to 3 dx. Okay, and therefore upon solving it, we get 2i is equal to, we know that the integral of 1 dx, dx means 1 dx. Okay, 1 dx over here. So integral of 1 is x, and therefore we get x as the answer from 1 to 3. Now upon applying the integral sign, upon applying the limit of integration, I mean, we are going to get 3 minus 2. Okay, in the brackets we are going to get 3 minus 2. 3 minus 1, I mean. The answer is 1. I mean the lower limit is 1. So 3 minus 1, which becomes 2. And therefore we got 2i is equal to 2. And therefore I becomes 1. And 1 becomes the answer of our integration. So study this sum as a very important sum. Okay. Now we have done 3 sums from this exercise so far. Since we have studied the properties of definite integration, as of now I am stopping the lecture. I want you to learn the properties really thoroughly before we go on to the next part of the exercise that is there. Okay. So we'll meet in the next lecture with the remaining sums of the exercise. Till then, study these properties properly. Try to understand these first 3 sums which are given. If any difficulty is there, of course you can contact me. We'll meet in the next lecture now. Keep safe and healthy, students. Do subscribe and like the channel if possible. Bye all of you.